Hi, Nick Ritter here with another Cavalry tutorial. This is another video in my Cavalry Constraint series where we go over each and every constraint, and in this one we'll be going over the Composition Constraint. You can find it by searching for Constraint or Composition. If you see in my bounding box constraint tutorial, you'll recognize this layout. Actually, I had to remake it. I did a silly thing and didn't save the old one before I made the tutorial. So, I did my best. Looking at the composition constraint, this is possibly the simplest constraint interface out of all of these. And again, this is a position-based constraint. The composition constraint takes into account your composition resolution. So in this case, as a width of 720 and height of 1280. This would be for any graphics that you need to be the size of maybe a cell phone. And then anything that you use with this constraint will be constrained to that composition based on the width and height percentages and the offset pixels. First thing, let's do our subscribe button. So I'll just use this composition constraint right here, connect this over to subscribe button position. And I did another silly thing where that went into the middle. So I'll undo that and then create a guide, set that to be the bottom of the text. And let's try that again. Connect the composition constraint to the subscribe button position. And then within our constraint, we can set the height percentage down until it lines up with our guide line. That looks pretty good. So I'll call this button con for button constraint. Then we'll do the same thing with our logo. Connect this to the logo position and then move the height. So I'm just going to eyeball this one so it looks fairly close. Okay, so now if we go into our resolution settings and change the height, you'll notice that the relative position of our subscribe button and the logo are changing in response to the composition resolution changing. This constraint is particularly useful when you know you have to deliver in multiple aspect ratios. And then let me just show you how to set up rendering out those multiple aspect ratios from this one composition. So we'll create a value to array. And what this value to array does is it has multiple X and Y coordinates. So we could set up our first constraint here, and this would be the one that we currently have. So 720 wide by 1280 pixels tall. Let's go ahead and add 3 more. This one we'll say is 1080 by 1080. This next constraint, we need it to be 1920 by 1080. And then the next one will be for TikTok, and so it's the opposite of that, 1080 by 1920. And then within our render manager, you can turn on dynamic render, set the dynamic index to be the array index. And then we can open up our composition settings and connect up our value to array to our resolution. So when the array index is at 0, it looks at this first value, and I'll just disconnect this dynamic index for now so I can show you what the rest of these numbers look like. If we go to array index 1, then it changes that to 1080 by 1080. We can go to 2 to see our widescreen, and then we can look at 3 for a TikTok. We didn't set up this top bar here to be responsive yet, but if you're following along and you want to make a phone interface like this one, I'll let you figure out how you would go about making the top bar with the battery, the time, and the cell bars responsive to the new resolution. Okay, thank you very much. You can subscribe to see more videos like this one, and don't forget to check out the other videos from my Cavalry Constraints series. Thank you.